Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Mass Effect. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today as we read some code. Oh well, we don't. We have some codex entries read at us.
Omni Tools are handheld devices that combine a computer microframe, sensor analysis pack, and manufacturing fabricator. Versatile and reliable, an Omni Tool can be used to analyze and adjust the functionality of most standard equipment, including weapons and armor, from a distance. The fabrication module can rapidly assemble small three-dimensional objects from common reusable industrial plastics, ceramics, and light alloys. This allows for field repairs and modifications to most standard items, as well as the reuse of salvaged equipment. Omni Tools are standard issue for soldiers and first-in colonists.
Yeah, I think we have one of these in our class, in our character. I'm not really sure. This game loves its cutesy little words, and some of them really stand out. Others not so much. But I'm thinking, I'm starting to see the pattern there. There's a lot of words like this. So the game uses the word Megatropolis. Megatropolis is not a correct usage of the word, but if it exists, it exists. I don't think it exists. I think it's made up for this game. But it's not correct because you're bastardizing a word that is already a mix of words, so it just doesn't work like that. Metropolis is a conjunction between metro and polis, which are two Greek words that mean, I don't know what they mean actually. Polis means just city. It's sort of like city. And metro, I don't know what it stands for. But still, that's what it is. And if you get the Megatro, where it's mixing all the things, especially because mega is also Latin. Is also Greek, ancient Greek. But minifacturing is sort of insulting, honestly. Megatropolis I can go with. Minifacturing? Seriously? It's not like English. English doesn't. English has the word mano in things. It's like manual and stuff like that. You know what manufacturing comes from. It's like it's a factoring of the mano. It's like it's the hands. It comes from doing things with their hands. And obviously it doesn't apply that like that, or necessarily apply that, or that doesn't necessarily apply after the Industrial Revolution. You have manufacturing with machines, but you just get past that bit. Manufacturing is just sort of, because it's like saying it's a computer. It's a computer I take to camp. Don't at me. It's fine. We're good. We were talking to Tally, and we're getting more codex entries. I have a lot of things to do. I also need to talk to Engineer Adams.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tally? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I don't think I wanted to say what I did, but sure enough, it fits with my character. Especially because I'm not talking to Tally, so be rude to everybody, or be aggressive. Anyway.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tally, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Fill me in on the IES stealth system. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
That's a really cool way of explaining it, honestly. It's like making mirrors aim at, well, it doesn't. It's kind of funny. It's like mirroring all of your energy into like a bag. And by energy, it probably means like things like light and heat and everything. It's really cool. And we'd probably be, contrary to actual modern real life stealth systems, we'd be invisible to the naked eye. You'd be standing right next to it and you wouldn't be able to see it. Which doesn't happen in modern day real life stealth systems. Contrary to what some people might think. And by some people, I mean really dumb people. Like, really dumb.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Yeah, if you accelerated that, it wouldn't be able to see you, of course. So they do not become completely invisible. That does raise questions, though, about what energy you're actually deflecting. Because radiative heat doesn't happen in space. That's one of the reasons why, like, vents and radiators don't work in space. That's a really interesting thing, actually, in terms of space technology. Something that we resolved back in the 60s. But the way you have a machine that makes heat, right? You have a computer or your cell phone or whatever, and it makes heat because it uses up electricity, and all that electricity is converted directly to heat. All of it, basically. And of course, in that process, it's making calculations based on what the chip is doing and the computer is doing, all that sort of stuff. But of course, it's if you have a PC or a laptop or whatever, unless it doesn't have fans, cell phones tend not to have fans. But you are intimately aware with the fans and basically the process of venting away all that heat. Now that works on Earth because of the basic reason is the way fans work themselves. Fans just move air, and in space there's no air to move. But you'd think that, actually, there's a misconception. I think I'm not wrong in saying that there is a misconception, because I'm pretty sure in BattleTech, which is a great game, by the way, you should definitely play it if you like turn-based tactics. But BattleTech, which is like Mech Warriors and stuff, it's specifically Mech Warriors. But if you go to, I think in that game, if you go to a place that doesn't have any atmosphere, cooling is easier, which isn't the case. Cooling is almost impossible in a place without atmosphere, because all the cooling you'll be doing on your normal heat sinks and like vents and all that sort of stuff, all the cooling you'll be doing with a fan. The fan obviously won't be moving any air, and all the cooling you'll be doing is not going to be radiative, it's going to be convexive, which means it's really little. Is it convexive? Is that the term? Because there's two ways of transmitting heat, which is direct contact with the surface, or actually there's three ways. Radiative, convexing. Is it the other way around? Yeah, it's the other way around. I think I'm saying the wrong words, but it doesn't matter because I'm not sure if the words are correct. So don't quote me on any of this. But basically, the reasoning behind the words be damned. The reasoning behind the words is that there's the way that you transmit heat, which is when you are in contact with another material and the temperature equalizes. It's just normal things. You have something at 100 degrees and air or water or yourself, you touch it, whatever it is, at 10 degrees, then the 100 degrees are going to start going towards whatever is at 10 degrees, right? So that's how air works. And for that, you need a surface area. So that's why you have the heat sinks and the little vents and all that sort of stuff to have as much surface area as possible between the material that's really hot, which is your heat sink itself, or whatever the thing that you're cooling, and of course the air that you're going to be moving through that area. So if you have a lot of area, there's a lot of that particular type of heat dissipation. However, there's another way of dissipating heat, which is the way the sun heats us, which is through radiation. I believe is specifically radiation. And in space, that is the only type of heat sinking, and that's the one that's very little. And the radiation is basically how if you have like an electrical fire and you turn it on, and because it doesn't have any fan, it's going to warm you up, but if you're very far away, it's going to take a long time to warm you up, so it's going to need to warm that air up all the way. And now can you imagine if there's no air? If there's no air, it's not going to warm you up anything at all. Which is one of the reasons that if you get very close to the sun, you don't necessarily get particularly hot. You get hotter, but like when there's a limiting factor because it's so much vacuum. So if you reflect that the direct energy beams of the sun, when you're very close to it, you basically get no heat whatsoever. You can be very chill because you're in vacuum. So I ramble about all the things. I'm very sorry. So the way this is where the interesting bit comes in. The way they sink the heat that machines make in space is through something that I don't know the name of. I once knew the name of, but I don't know the name of it right now. It's something that actually, you know what? I know the name of it. I do know the name of it. I was saying that I don't know it, and I was thinking of sublimation. I think I was right in convexing and radiation, but I don't know which one is which. But sublimation is the type of cooling that happens in space. I don't know exactly the specifics. I know it uses water, and it's not particularly efficient. Because it uses water, it doesn't last forever, unlike like a heat sink. So yeah, basically it has to do with a chemical reaction. It's like a heat exchanger over water, and it has to do with the sublimation has to do with the water turning from gas to water itself, and that takes energy, and that energy that it requires is how they sink heat in space. So I'm not really sure how a spaceship like this would do it to sink the heat in space. Although most likely you wouldn't want to sink the heat in space in a ship like this. You would want to use it. You would want to keep it inside the ship as much as possible, because you need to heat it up. Like, the ship needs to contain all the heat inside. So it probably would be the case that you would be just like using the heat of the engines and all this sort of stuff just for climatization and stuff like that inside the ship. So you wouldn't need to use sublimation a whole lot. Sublimation tends to work. Sublimation specifically only works in vacuum, so you probably would be able to, if you use up all the heat, you would be able to cool computers inside the ship by just having fans on and stuff like that, because everything is pressurized. But all that to say that the stealth system, if it doesn't make you invisible, which I could swear it did, I think we see an animation of the ship going invisible, like it goes all cloaky, like in StarCraft, where you just get a cloak on and stuff. But either way, the point is that heat is not an issue in space. Oh my god. Still, anyway.
Why doesn't it work with faster than light travel?
Cranking up the FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm not really sure if it would make sense, but if it does make sense, the blue shifting of things.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, but we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Indeed. That's the core, obviously. I really like the detail. That's so cool. That's so engineering-based. Tally said, I can't believe they managed to fit something this size in this ship. Because size, well, in space, weight is the issue, but size is also correlated to that. Because size, obviously, like when you have a car and you want to put a bigger engine in it, the size is the issue. Because if your car is not big enough for having the engine in it, it's gonna be a problem there. We can. Oh, it's the Mako. That's right. Is that Mako? Is that a reference? Let's find out. Probably the game wouldn't say, because I think it might be a reference to Ghost in the Shell, maybe.
Biotics is the element zero can increase or decrease the mass of a volume of space-time when subjected to an electrical current. With a positive current, mass is increased. With a negative current, mass is decreased. The stronger the current, the greater the magnitude of the dark energy mass effect. In space, low-mass fields allow FTL travel and inexpensive surface-to-orbit transit. High-mass fields create artificial gravity and push space debris away from vessels. In manufacturing, low-mass fields permit the creation of evenly blended alloys, while high-mass compaction creates dense, sturdy construction materials. The military makes extensive use of mobility-enhancing technologies, with mass effect utilizing fighting vehicles standard frontline issue in most military forces. Mass effect fields are also essential in the creation of kinetic barriers or shields to protect against enemy fire.
Yeah, I think the Mako uses that sort of stuff. This doesn't make sense. With a positive current, mass is increased. With a negative current, mass is decreased. This doesn't make sense in any way whatsoever. Current is measured in amps, and you don't have negative amps. That doesn't even make sense. It's like it doesn't work like that. But even if you assume the current is wrong, you mean a positive charge and a negative charge, that still doesn't make any sense, which is probably what it means, by the way. It's probably a positive charge and the mass is increased. A negative charge, the mass is decreased. It doesn't make sense because what we call positive and negative are only referential. Like, you can interchange it. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It's like the north and the south poles on a magnet. It doesn't matter what you call it. They still work as opposites. Like, if you all of a sudden, we all decided that north is all of a sudden green and south is paper, and we just call it the paper pole and the green pole, and that's it. It works exactly the same. It doesn't matter. And the positives and negative charges of electrons and actually, that's in electricity. In electricity, the positive and negative charges don't work. You can't. Electrons and neutrons. No, wait. Protons and electrons don't work the same way, though. But you can't confuse the two. These are not about, like, atomic... This is not about atomic physics. It's about electricity. And there's no such thing as a positive current and a negative current. That's not how it works. Or charge, either. But in atoms, it does exist. Electrons have positive charge. But if you want to call it a different thing, you can call it a different thing, but they're not interchangeable. You can't just all of a sudden use electrons for what protons are used for. I think that's what it is. Protons are negative, and electrons are positive, and neutrons are neutral. I think that's how it works. There's no such thing as neutral electricity. It's just they're similar terms for very different things, but that doesn't make sense electrically speaking.
Faster than light drives use element 0 cores to reduce the mass of the ship. Larger warships are generally classified in one of 4 weights. Frigates are small, fast ships used for scouting and screening of larger vessels. Frigates often operate in wolf pack flotillas. Cruisers are middleweight combatants, faster than dreadnoughts and more heavily armed than frigates. Cruisers are the standard patrol unit and often lead frigate flotillas. Dreadnoughts are kilometer-long capital ships mounting heavy, long-range firepower. They are only deployed for the most vital missions. Carriers are dreadnought-sized vessels that also carry large numbers of fighters. Smaller vessels are almost exclusively used in a support role to the warships during combat. Fighters are one-man craft used to perform close-range attacks on enemy ships. Interceptors are one-man craft optimized for destroying opposing fighters.
So fighters are like bombers, and interceptors are like fighters. Yeah, that's interesting. It's also interesting that dreadnoughts have long-range firepower. What do you mean long-range firepower? You can only assume that it's like long-range long-range acquisition, because like anything in space can fire at a coordinate. Accuracy might be a different thing. So long-range accuracy firepower might be it. But then again, for the size of the ship to be, I think the size of the ship is actually what changes the accuracy of the shot. Because think about it like this: you have a dreadnought acquiring an enemy like, I don't know, a light year away in distance or something like that, something ridiculously long. You wouldn't be able to see it. You wouldn't be able to tell. The space combat is so different. The actual real life space combat is so different that there's no touch point with fantasy settings when you start thinking about it, because everything is done at long distances. There's no such thing as like pew 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 from Star Wars, just lasers that take time to travel, because you know they're lasers that it's at the speed of light.
The Normandy is a prototype starship developed by the Human Systems Alliance with the assistance of the Citadel Council. It is optimized for scouting and reconnaissance missions in unstable regions using state-of-the-art stealth technology. For most ships, the heat generated through standard operations is easily detectable against the absolute zero background of space.
That's not true.
The Normandy, however, is able to temporarily sink this heat within the hull. Combined with refrigeration of the exterior hull, The ship can travel undetected for hours or drift passively for days of covert observation. This is not without risk. The stored heat must eventually be radiated, or it will build to levels capable of cooking the crew alive. Another component of the stealth system is the Normandy's revolutionary Tantalus drive, a Mass Effect core twice the standard size. The Tantalus drive generates mass concentrations that the Normandy falls into, allowing it to move without the use of heat-emitting thrusters.
That's interesting as well. I like that. But it's not true that space is absolute zero. It is near absolute zero, but it isn't. Space is full of stuff. So basically, it's full of energy, and we have the Mako. That's what I wanted to read.
The Mako infantry fighting vehicle was designed for the System Alliance's frigates. Though the interior is cramped, an M35 is small enough to be carried in the cargo bay and easily deployed on virtually any world. With its turreted 155mm mass accelerator and coaxially mounted machine gun, the Mako can provide a fire team with weapon support as well as mobility. Since Alliance Marines may be required to fight on any world, the Mako is environmentally sealed and equipped with microthrusters for use on low-gravity planetoids.
Hell yeah.
The Mako is powered by a sealed hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell and includes a small Element Zero core. While not large enough to nullify the vehicle's mass, the core can reduce it enough to be safely airdropped. When used in conjunction with thrusters, it also allows the Mako to extricate itself from difficult terrain.
I say Mako because that doesn't look like... It looks like a Japanese word, basically. Also, do you know what this means? The 155mm mass accelerator and a machine gun are coaxially mounted, which means they're mounted on the same axis. But it's which axis, you ask? It's the axis of rotation. So they're basically, they have a machine gun inside their cannon. I love it. That's like, it's like a coaxial cable, basically. A coaxial cable is like a cable that has an inner part and an outer part. It can have multiple parts, but either way, it has an inner part and an outer part. And Garrus, did I talk to you?
Commander, good to see you.
To you as well. And that's, you know, that's what coaxial means. It could mean other things under different circumstances, because of course you have multiple axes, or you can just, you know, depending on what you're talking about and stuff like that. We have to go back, by the way. I have to go back to the Fist headquarters, because apparently I missed the safe that was in there. But we also need to talk to so many people. I'll do that in between episodes, and see what is up and all this sort of stuff. Let me save the game just in case. Personnel manual for more codex entries. SR1. What is SR1? Is that where we are? Or is that the name of the, is like the number plate of the ship? Oh no, this is the deck. I'm sorry. I need to talk to people down here, because I just went down. Right. Okay. We're getting acclimatized. It's important. See what we have over here. And more importantly, who we have over here. We have our Medigel. Yeah, it's not the section of the ship. It's like, it's probably the number plate or something.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Goodbye. There isn't anything I need. But more importantly, I thought I had talked to her already. I mean, I did. It's just, this might mean that I have explored this already, and I forgot. I did. Yeah, I talked to them.
Anything you need, Commander?
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
It's longingly looking into each other's eyes. Oh, that's my locker right there. It's my only locker. Okay, and this is the exit of the ship. Unless I'm wrong. Oh yeah, we explored. Okay, let me go to Fist's place. Nah, I couldn't get back there. The last door is locked. I missed that bit. I wonder what it was. Hopefully not information.
Commander, something you need?
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
I'm sorry, Joker. I didn't even know you were sick.
You mean you didn't know? Oh, crap. Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic, but I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
Why don't you have a wheelchair? Why the crutches?
I need to know more about this Vrolik syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures, hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
You're not gonna break a bone trying to fly the ship, are you?
I don't fly with my feet, Commander, so I'm fine as long as I'm in this chair. I gotta be real careful when I get up to take a piss, though. I can do my job as well as anyone on the ship. Better, actually. So don't worry about it.
I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. Let's talk about something else.
Whatever you want, Commander.
We really should get him a wheelchair. I'm pretty sure he would. I mean, unless he doesn't want it, of course. But he probably would be more comfortable instead of having to go around, with on crutches.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
I was just thinking how much you remind me of Santa Claus.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
I have to go.
All right, see ya.
Indeed. Now, how do we get this ship moving? Because I'm gonna need that. We're gonna need to get it moving. I don't think Joker's gonna help me on that. Oh right, it's on the galaxy map. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. I can't believe I haven't opened it yet. It's like episode 5000 already, and we haven't even moved. But we have heard most of the codex entries. We're gonna hear more because I got another one. But you didn't see it; it was off camera. But for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Mass Effect. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment. Like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye bye.